Chapter, and today on Amanda Reads I'm going to be discussing the most talked about book this year. At least I personally think so. And I'm talking about the amazingly heart-wrenching book The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. And I know I'm a little bit late on this bandwagon. There is a reason I've been prolonging reading this book, and it's because everybody I talk to, every review I've ever read online talks about how sad this book is, and I didn't think that I could handle something so tragic, but I finally, sucked it up and I just bought it and, I read it, and I gotta tell you, I cried like a baby. I really did.
Why, John Green? Why? You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Why would you do that? John Green, you brilliant bastard.
It was just an incredible, incredible book. So basically it's about this girl named Hazel. She's 16 years old. She has thyroid cancer and mets in her lungs, and because of that she has really weak lungs, and so the rest of her life she has to breathe using a portable oxygen tank because her lungs aren't strong enough. And she goes to this cancer support group and she meets this boy named Augustus, who is 17 years old, and he had osteosarcoma, and because of that he lost his leg, and so he has a prosthetic leg, but apparently according to the book he's like this dreamy guy who's like super confident and witty, and Hazel is pretty witty herself, and so like he really catches her eye, and she catches his, and they end up meeting at this cancer support group, and they hit it off and they become friends, and slowly but surely, inevitably, they end up falling in love. And it's basically about their journey being ill and just accepting each other for their faults, accepting each other for what it makes them beautiful, for being sick, and being full of life and intelligence. And I don't want to say that it makes light of cancer, but it basically makes it more realistic, and it gives you more insight as to what it actually feels like having cancer. I know that it was it definitely hit close to home because this past year my mom had breast cancer, and she put on a brave face a lot, but you never really know what that person feels like. And not to say that this was the definition of what a person with cancer feels like, but it made it seem more realistic as to what they feel like when they have cancer. And going back to the whole romance between the main characters, Hazel and Augustus, who is referred to as Gus by his friends and everything, it was just such a beautiful, beautiful relationship. They're both really witty people, and so that made the book pretty humorous, and there were a lot of times where I caught myself laughing or commenting on a quote that I thought was just so brilliantly written. And that's really what makes John Green stand out. This is my first John Green novel, and I really hate to admit that now because he really is brilliant. He just killed me with this whole story. When you hear about a book where the main characters have cancer, there's only one conclusion that you can think of, and you don't know. You really don't know. Maybe there's a happy ending, but considering the fact that everybody has been saying that this is so sad, and I can vouch for this, you kind of put two and two together. So he really is like a brilliant bastard. John Green, how dare you cause my heart to weep this much. But it really was an insightful, witty, humorous, tragic, heart-wrenching, beautiful love story, and it just really puts things into perspective. And to find happiness, even if it's fleeting, even if the timing's not right, even if it's lasts a long time or lasts a short time, a lot of us don't realize how precious our time on earth is. This book definitely makes you appreciate life and makes you appreciate the people in it. So yeah, my overall rating out of 5 stars is definitely, no doubt, 5 stars. I would recommend this to anybody, and it was a relatively fast read, mostly because I really couldn't put it down. Actually, there were a couple times where I had to walk away from it just because I knew something tragic was going to happen eventually, and why else would it be called The Fault in Our Stars? So, you know, I had to spare myself that time and just pretend everything was going to be okay, but come to the end, you know, I cried like a baby, but I appreciated the way that John Green ended this book, and I just thought it was really beautiful. The way that John Green wrote this entire story is just, you know, mind-blowing. You know, a lot of the times we read books and we don't realize the different kind of word combinations and the kind of effects they make for the story and describing what's going on and how a person feels. And you know, I would rather call him a composer of words than an author. I feel like a composer of words is a little more esteemed because really he just has a way of putting words together and forming a truly, truly beautiful story. So for that, I give you major kudos, John Green. You did very, very well with this book. Definitely, definitely recommend this to anybody. I'd give you fair warning in knowing that, you know, this isn't one of those books where you're not gonna cry, because I guarantee you will, and if you don't, well then maybe, I don't know. I'm very confused by your feelings. But you will definitely cry, you will definitely laugh, because it is pretty humorous. Banter between Hazel and Gus and their witty comments, and you know, it actually kind of made me feel a little bit smarter reading this, you know, understanding big words and all that fun stuff. But it's a #1 New York Times bestseller for a reason. So definitely, definitely check out The Fault in Our Stars if you're into these kind of books. It's a young adult novel, it's fiction. It's not based off of a real couple, just a heads up. So that kind of makes it a little bit easier to handle. Just brace yourself for feeling all kinds of emotions. It's being turned into a film, if you haven't heard. I'm pretty sure you have. Starring Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort. They're both in Divergent, where they play siblings, but in this film they will be playing, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend. I wonder how that feels. So yeah, now I'm going to be talking about some spoilers, so if you haven't read this book, I suggest you exit out of this video, but before you do so, definitely thumbs it up if you like this series, Amanda Reads, where I recommend more books, and definitely leave a comment below letting me know if you're interested in seeing it, if you're interested in reading the book, if this review helped in any way to make you want to read it or watch the movie. Yeah, so let me know. But if you have read this book, stick around because I want to talk a little bit about it. So basically I just wanted to address the fact that Peter Van Houten, or Van Houten, the author of An Imperial Affliction, which happens to be Hazel's favorite book, I had a feeling he was going to be a major douchebag, partly because they were so excited to go see him, and there was no way that it was going to be this perfect, you know, adventure to Amsterdam. You know, I mean, first of all, I think that's pretty cool of him to sacrifice his Make-A-Wish and take his lady love to Amsterdam to go meet her favorite author of all time, which happens to eventually be his favorite author because he ends up falling in love with the book, obviously. But I just wasn't surprised by the way that Peter Van Houten was made out to be. I mean, you had to know that there just was something that was going to go wrong on that trip. Everything was like going so well that it's like you almost kind of knew something was going to happen. And you know, if it wasn't the fact that the trip was completely canceled, if it wasn't the fact that they didn't like Amsterdam, I mean, it had to be the author. I mean, right? I mean, it just had to. And so it turns out he's like this crazy drunk man who just hates the world and is miserable and wants to make everybody else miserable. And you know, I just totally saw it coming and I felt horrible for them. I really did. A lot of the times when he was talking to them, if it were me in that situation, that man would have been smacked. Smacked, smacked, smacked. Like, let's clarify here. This is abuse and this is discipline. He would have been disciplined by me, for sure. I definitely would not have kept my mouth shut and I definitely would have cursed him out. But, you know, I wasn't there. So I really did feel for them. Another thing that I wanted to address was their friend Isaac. Oh my god, killed me when he lost his last eye and his girlfriend broke up with him. Go Isaac, Stay strong. Before reading this book, I was really excited about the movie because, you know, I heard that the story was really good and I figured, okay, if I didn't read the book, I feel like I'll appreciate this movie a little bit more. But at the same time, I really wanted to read this book. I really wanted to get what everybody else was understanding. And so now that I've read the book, I gotta tell you, I'm a little nervous about this movie. I thought the casting was really great. A lot of the times when I was reading this, I pictured them and I feel like, you know, they could do a really good job with it. I just hope that they don't stray from the main storyline as much because a lot of the times novel to film scenarios don't really work out. Like Harry Potter was awesome. You know, I thought that they did the best that they could considering the amount of information for it. The Twilight Saga, I mean, I prefer the books over the movies, but I mean, they didn't stray too far from the storyline either. But if you talk about beautiful creatures, I never read the book, but I heard that this movie is completely different from it. I'm sure there's plenty of other examples I just can't think of off the top of my head. So I'm just hoping that this one stays really true to the story because I really fell in love with this story in the book and the characters, and you know, it's almost kind of like a distant family and I just don't want them to ruin such a beautiful thing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the movie is just as good as the book. I don't think it could be better, but hopefully it's just as good. If you've read this book before, leave me a comment down below if you'd like, telling me if you're excited about this movie, what your worries are, anything of that kind of nature. Hopefully you enjoyed this review of The Fault in Our Stars, and if you did, make sure you thumbs up this video for more Amanda Reads. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of videos, or if you're interested in DIYs or styling videos, anything of that nature, you know. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!